My F27 ex-boyfriend, M32, and his new girlfriend asked me for a threesome. I F27 dated my ex, M32, for around 3.5 years. It was a nice, healthy, loving relationship. I broke up with him at the start of 2021. The reasons for my decision are complicated, but it was never because I thought he was a bad person or bad boyfriend. He took the breakup really hard, and to be honest, I struggled a lot with it too initially because I still really loved him. I just knew we weren't a good match anymore. The first few months after the breakup involved a lot of backsliding, and sleeping together whenever we saw each other, which was quite frequently since we have a lot of mutual friends. Eventually we had a big chat and we both agreed that we wanted to stay in each other's lives as friends, so we needed to stop complicating matters by having sex and move on for good. From that point on we practiced restraint and stopped hooking up, and things were purely platonic. When he started dating again, I was just happy to see him happy. About 4 months ago he started seeing one woman, F30, exclusively. I'll admit that when I first heard he had a new girlfriend I cried lol. It was my initial gut reaction, but I quickly came to accept that this was inevitable and decided to be happy for them. I started seeing him around in social situations, and she was always really friendly and lovely to me, which I appreciated and of course showed back to her. A couple weeks ago she suggested that I go on a double date with her, my ex and a new guy the first had just started seeing, who I'm not seeing anymore. I reluctantly agreed and found the whole experience weird. My ex's new girlfriend spent the whole time making relentless comments about my body, how good I looked in my dress, how she couldn't stop looking at my lips, etc. It was so inappropriate and weird, and I figured she was either trying to test my ex or was just making fun of me. Either way, the night left me feeling really awkward and uncomfortable, so I phoned my ex to discuss it. I broached my theory with him, that she was maybe either making fun of me or was trying to test him to see if he'd agree with the comment she was making about me, and he said it was neither. Apparently his new girlfriend is very attracted to me, and has been saying that she wants us all to have a threesome together. I'm also bisexual, and a threesome was something my ex and I had discussed in the abstract while we were dating, since I had had a few in the past, always as someone's third, never as part of any relationship I've been in, and my ex had never had one, but we both agreed that we were too jealous and monogamous to want to do it. Apparently he and his new girlfriend have had a few threesomes already, so this is a dynamic they're used to, and she has been adamant that she wants one with me. I asked my ex how he felt about the idea. He said his initial gut reaction to the suggestion was, yes please, but the rational part of him said it would be too weird and that he figured I would never want to do it anyway. The way he was speaking, it was like he wanted to make it clear that he would never ask this of me, but the more we spoke the more obvious it was that this was something he really wanted. I told him I would think about it and get back to them. Since then his girlfriend has been flirting with me over text. Reasons I am tempted to say yes. I find both of them attractive. When I was with my ex, part of me was always curious about having a threesome with him. I could just never do it at the time because I was too in love and monogamous. This is my chance to have that experience without having to worry about feeling jealous or possessive etc. about seeing him with another woman. The idea has been turning me on the more I consider it, and I now have a full fantasy of this. Reasons I am hesitant. Has the potential to be extremely awkward and weird. Backsliding was a pattern for my ex and I, and always led to mixed feelings. I don't want things to be complicated anymore. Threesome with an ex just sounds like a textbook bad idea, doesn't it? Any advice to give me please? Too long did not read. My ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend have asked me if I could join them in a threesome, and I'm seriously considering it against my better judgment because I'm horny. Edit. A few people have asked about the reason for the breakup. I originally wrote a paragraph about it in my original post, but it was becoming too long-winded for an already long enough post, so I scrapped it. It's pretty complicated, but essentially, in the last few months of our relationship, his mental health was on the decline. He has a very stressful job and he doesn't always handle that stress well, but it was becoming unbearable to deal with. He was lashing out at people, including me, sabotaging professional opportunities and relationships, then beating himself up over it. I really tried to be there for him and help. Every suggestion I made was ignored or turned around on me. I tried, very delicately, to tell him I thought he might have depression and anxiety, and that talking to a therapist could help him learn some good coping techniques that could help him handle his stress and anxiety. He took great offense to that, said I was calling him crazy, that he didn't need to talk to anyone because he wasn't a nutter. These comments really hurt me. I've been in therapy on and off for almost a decade, since I was in an abusive relationship in my late teens and started therapy shortly after I eventually left that relationship, where I was eventually diagnosed with PTSD. My boyfriend was the first person I confided in about any of this, and he was always so supportive and encouraging and patient. Whenever I felt like my fears from my past relationship were getting in the way of what we had, or if I suspected I was beginning to self-sabotage due to those fears, I would go back into therapy and work on it. He always seemed so understanding of this, and would tell me how proud he was of me when I would take those steps, so to hear him now basically say, "I don't need therapy because that's for crazy people," devastated me. It betrayed who I thought he was, and what I thought his understanding of mental health was. Even when he apologized, it was too late. I was becoming resentful that he wasn't taking the steps to look after himself, if not for my sake then for his. And it was just hurting me too much seeing this cycle perpetuate once he made it clear he didn't want to do anything to stop it. It boiled down to, "I love you but I can't help you until you help yourself." Horrible idea. Do it. This is the definition of complicating matters. I think this sounds like a worse idea for them than for you. If you are okay with this possibly making friendship with them challenging or off the table, I'd say go for it. It might be the catalyst you need to move on from this situation in a more final way. If you genuinely want to stay friends with your ex long term, then it's probably not a good idea. This sounds like a god-awful idea. Our horny brains make us stupid. You should go get some action elsewhere. I discourage you and here's why. It's not been the longest time frame since backsliding and you getting upset happened. The new girlfriend is coming on so strong. TBH, I find that a turnoff. The date was awkward. Speculation. The jealousy feelings from the first time you dated him could come back hard. What if you don't want to repeat the experience and they keep coming on as strong? Believe me, I have a good case of being horny as fuck and letting that guide me into questionable decisions. My life and self-respect improved when I backed off of that. The night left me feeling really awkward and uncomfortable. This is how you felt when she was flirting with you. I think you're both thinking with your little heads and the reality will be that you two get jealous either in the moment or it will hit you after. But to be fair, I don't know you. If you don't, you 2-3 continue as friends. If you do, it could potentially blow everything up. What if one of you gets pregnant? What if one of you wants to keep having threesomes and someone else doesn't? What if someone gets jealous and vindictive? You'd all three have to be very mature for this to work well, and perhaps you all are. All Reddit can do is present various scenarios for you to think about as you make your decision. I'd be more concerned you'd blow up their relationship than anything. It's not like you'd never see them again, you run in the same circles. Seems like too much drama for one night of fun. Watch a porno about what you are fantasizing about and satisfy yourself, and then after that ask yourself if you still want to do it. Lol, I had an ex ask me the same thing, and while I'll admit it did turn me on, there's just way too many bad outcomes. We do crazy things when we are horny. Lol. Sounds like a bad idea. If this was a purely sexual thing, it might be a good fun adventure, but you both were together in a long-term relationship with certain goals and hopes that makes it heavy. That history is in the way. Who knows what problems they have in their relationships, but your ex seems like he's not totally done with you. If you then complicate it with sex again, it's going to get messy, but now with one extra person there. I'm so sorry, but I honest to God think you're a fool. Like one of the biggest fools I've ever encountered on Reddit. NGL, your boyfriend's new girlfriend sounds like a psycho. My guess is she's jealous of you and trying to put herself in the middle to make herself feel in control of the situation. I foresee some batshit crazy complications if this happens, and if I were you I'd stay well away. Literally the worst idea. Have a threesome with anyone else on the planet. Go get some orgasms and new experiences. You're single. You're all attracted to each other. She's painfully obsessed with his past women, and her insecurities show themselves by initiating sexual contact with you on her terms so she doesn't lose him to you later via cheating, which her anxiety-riddled mind has convinced her is the only obvious outcome. Or fuck any other person on the planet. Not the worst outcome either way. Focus on those reasons for hesitation. I'd imagine you could come up with a lot more. It's a terrible idea because of the reasons everyone else has said, but also for the way both your ex and his girlfriend have broached the idea with you. Inviting you on a double date and then flirting grossly with you in front of your boyfriend, that is crossing some boundaries right there and not showing respect for you. If they wanted to have a threesome with you, they should have approached you in a nicer way, instead of trying to force this issue. Like, treat you with some grand respect. like you have your own brain and are deserving of knowing the full story. The lack of communication skills both your ex and his girlfriend have shown tells me that, no matter how the threesome goes, the fallout is going to be drama-filled. Why do people feel the need to invite drama in their life? An ex is an ex for a reason. Block him, her, avoid them until you know you're not tempted to sleep with them, and move on. This is wrong on so many levels. Doing this will hurt your chances of finding a serious relationship for a really long time. That's just the truth. It's honestly not the worst thing in the world. There's a potential for it to become messy, but there's always that potential. If it's a bucket list thing, go for it with clear rules and boundaries as well as open communication. I definitely wouldn't do it. It sounds as if you know that it will end badly, you've been through this before, things won't be any different now. I'm baffled at the stupidity of his new GF. I think they're the ones at risk here. If you want to do it, do it. They're the ones risking their relationship over what soundly like a fucking terrible idea. Your ex must have some giant balls to even consider having sex with his ex. See, I would totally say go for it, even if he was an ex, but even you said that just 4 months ago you cried over him getting a new woman. The idea sounds fun and all, but you got to think about it practically. Do you still have feelings for him? And do you think you could develop them again? If you said yes to either of those questions, don't do it. I think this would have been fine if it wasn't for the fact that the two of you clearly still have some feelings left for each other. Don't do it. The most disaster-ridden path you could take is to have this three-way. Do it and watch the world burn. 2022 is wild anyway. I don't know why you'd want to do anything intimate with someone who has already made you feel so awkward and uncomfortable. That would be a hard pass from me. You said in another post that the reason you want it isn't because of the threesome but because you've always wondered what a threesome would look like with him. Honestly, that sounds really messy because that basically is getting around the rule you both set for yourselves. You broke up for reasons that aren't explained here, which is your right, you don't need to explain it, but still proceeded to bone every time you saw each other. Which led you two to set the boundary of being platonic. It just sounds like an excuse to screw him again to me personally. Which is fine, but it doesn't sound healthy. You guys didn't work for a reason, so it's best to move on. Tough call, but I think with a lot of open communication surrounding boundaries, both social and sexual, there's an opportunity for it to be really good. As you said, there's no worry about you having to feel jealous or possessive any longer, so from your perspective, this could be a way to have a threesome in a familiar environment with someone who you know already cares for you and is a good person. Just need to be upfront and have some adult conversations about who is comfortable, uncomfortable with what, and setting up ground rules. Edit. Take a video and send me it. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. They've had a few threesomes already and now want another one with you. My God, they need an STD test. Stay away from these swingers. Seems like they view females as sex objects now. Freaking gross. Please have some self-respect and get away from them. Go look for a nice threesome with some people that doesn't come with all this emotional mess attached. Sounds like a great chance to find out you're still in love with him or not. I think you'll probably feel like shit whether you do it or don't, so Godspeed lol. Think you already said it, a textbook bad idea. Still your choice. How do you see each other afterwards? What kind of relationship you think you will have or they are expecting? Curious, but if you did go through with it, would you still try and maintain the friendship? Will definitely make it hard to find another serious relationship with someone who would be okay with your friendship with the ex. Seems more trouble than it's worth. Far more negatives than the reward of having a hot night. If you want to remain friends with your ex, then this is a really bad idea. Does sound like it'd be awesome though, it'd just have consequences. Oof, I mean sure do it, but it's 100% a terrible idea for everyone involved. Go with your gut. If you're uncomfortable with the idea or think it will do more harm than good, don't do it. This sounds like the worst idea ever. You only live once. Just do it. If you do it, update us. But I don't think it is a good idea. You and ex will likely catch feelings again and it isn't going to end well. This is my chance to have that experience without having to worry about feeling jealous or possessive etc. about seeing him with another woman. Good luck with that. Cheeky smiley face. Me thinks you gonna feel a lot of things you don't like. This has too much baggage to have a good shot at being a positive experience. This is a terrible idea and will likely cause you and your ex a lot of pain. Please don't put yourself through that and block his GF. You don't need that drama. This is the worst idea I have ever heard anyone have. Fuck. No. Op. You already know having sex with your ex made it messy, so you stopped. If your goal here is to move on from your ex and become friends, having a threesome with him, knowing he had a very hard time getting over the breakup, is a bad idea. This is not going to make your friendship work with him. Honey, you got it bad. Don't you dare do it. This is the worst idea ever. Look, nothing wrong with a threesome, but not with your ex slightly smiling face. The problem I see is your ex may come back to you and drops his new girlfriend, so really she's the one who may lose out. It's probably not a very good idea. I'm basing my opinion based on the fact that you had said you cried when you found out that he has a new GF. Even though you have accepted this and has moved on yourself, doing this may bring up a whole host of emotions that you had not anticipated. You sound like you are in a good place right now. Go get your groove on with other people. It'll be less complicated. Not the smartest idea, when presented with your hesitations. Sounds like you'd be opening a huge can of worms you may not be emotionally prepared for. I think you have to sort out your own feelings on everything, including life. It sounds like you're a little bit confused regarding him, and even the breakup seems on the complicated side. I think you should keep your life simple and do some soul searching and ask yourself what you really want instead of confusing it more. Do it. By continuing to hang out with him and insisting on having a friendship with him, you're managing to keep things complicated and weird just fine without the sex, so you might as well enjoy the sex too if you think it sounds hot. No one is cheating, everyone is consenting, you're all young and you don't have another relationship. You only live once. You still in love with him. Nothing wrong with saying it. But the part of you guys not being good for each other. Also take notice. But have the threesome with him. Just have fun and make sure his negative side. You don't allow it to give you issues.